So, does being in flow also helps an individual to find life purpose to be to or to lead a purposeful life?
Yes and no. Why? First of all, to be in the flow, of course, as you have to get. Sorry, not necessarily to be in the flow. What I want to say is to find a life purpose. You have to first of all go inside yourself, right? And to find some quiet time to understand what is it that I really care for or what is it that I want for. So it's not like a certain task that I sit 2 hours, close my eyes, and I will find something. So you might find it in that moment, you might not even find it in that moment. So if you're open, if you stay curious, if you're open to listen to your own uh, there's murmur or a soft voice that come in when you with yourself in a quiet moment, and then you might suddenly find that sometimes, but it's not necessarily. But for that happen, you have to be really connected with yourself in a quiet moment. So yes, you can be in the flow and you will find it, or you can still be in the flow. But if you are putting a caveat saying, I have to find it, then I would say you would be disappointed.
Yeah, because there's really too much stress that. A warm welcome to you, Vinay, in today's podcast.
Thank you, Manjari. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast. It's been I'm really happy to be here. And just that I saw some of the past podcasts that you had, and they are very interesting topics. So I'm really looking forward to what we are going to explore it in today's episode.
So, Vinay joins us today from Basel, Switzerland, and he is a executive coach and a life coach with around 7 years of experience with focus and expertise in mental mastery. Before he became an executive leadership coach, he was into finance for around 2 decades into corporate life. Now, today we are going to understand from Vinay how to have mental mastery, to have flow in our life, because at times we feel blocked and we do not know what to do and confused. So let's understand how to have flow in our life. But before we do that, let's know from Vinay how his personal journey has been in this field.
Thank you, Manjari, for that introduction. And so I'm just thinking where should I start, because it's been such a long, enriching journey so far. Uh, just to set the context, right now I'm living here in Basel, Switzerland, since 2005 with my family. So it's been almost 20 years that we are living here in Basel. But before that, I was living in Mumbai. So I'm born in Mumbai and brought up in different places of Maharashtra. So almost like in the first 10 years of school, I had 5 different schools. Because my father was in government job, so he had a transferable job every 2 years. We used to get transferred. So I had that like different schools, but then when I finished my high school SSC, and when came back to Mumbai for education in commerce, and I did my commerce, I did my ICWA there, and then actually started my professional journey with Unilever as a management accountant. And as always, the reason I said that, because probably the change was always there right from my childhood. And many times it feels like a cliche that change is the only constant. But I think I had experienced that in my life so much that as I said, like 5 different schools, then coming to Mumbai, then starting with Unilever, and then I moved to the company called Clariant. in specialty chemicals business, and there from there I was actually sent to the headquarter in Basel in 2005. After working for a few years in Clarion, then I moved to another job in Syngenta in the agrochemical business. And all throughout these almost like 2 decades of experience that I had was always in finance, in finance controlling, finance business partnering. So in around 2010, 2011, when I was still working as a finance controller, I was thinking like, what next? And there came an opportunity to work because there was a bigger project that my company was coming up with the new operating model. And I had an opportunity to work in that project as a finance transition manager. And that was actually the first time I really worked with people, helping them transition into the new process, into the new role, and kind of got very close to understand how to manage change and how to navigate or help people navigating through change. So 2 years down the line, I finished that project, went back into the business, and I felt I enjoyed that role of transition and change management. So I was missing that piece. So what should I do now? So I got actually an opportunity to understand like, oh, there is something what is called as coaching, and there is a like curriculum that one can understand and take or learn coaching as. So I got myself through that curriculum and got myself certified as a coactive coach. And as the time progressed, I in 2016-17, when there was another opportunity, I said like, oh, I don't really see myself more in progressing into this controlling or finance business partnering role. And I really enjoyed doing this transition and coaching piece. So why not go in that direction? So 2017, then I really started as an independent coach in Basel. So I had my own company. I set up my own company, started in Basel. And then as the journey happened, there were a few other opportunities, few other companies came up where I got linked with them as associate coach. And then there was some network partnering happen. And yeah, time flew. 7 years now, I've been working as an independent coach, as an executive leadership coach and life coach, because personally, I believe that we have that everything is encompassed in the word life. Because many times we think about a professional life, personal life. Of course, there is some segregation between personal and professional life, but everything comes under that life. And we as a whole person, we are the same. So if we can we can actually overcome that duality, and then probably we can find ourselves flowing through the life and really getting engaged and enjoy that life the way we want to be.
So since today's topic was flow, I didn't prepare anything for this podcast. I am going to be in flow. So let's see how it goes. So I also transitioned from a finance corporate background to being a coach and a therapist. So it will be interesting to know what attracted you to coaching, because finance and coaching, they're poles apart.
Right. You're right that they are poles apart. At the same time, I remember one of my boss actually used to say that in finance, we are not just looking at the numbers, but we are actually looking at the story that the numbers tell us. Mm-hmm. And if I find the similarity between finance and coaching, that's what I see here. Because when I work with when I'm coaching someone, and when I'm working with someone, they come up with their story. But it's like numbers or what happened, events, etc. But what we as a coach, we are looking at not that what they are telling the story, but what is beyond that story, who they are as a person. And what are they really struggling with, or what are they really aspiring to be? And that is where actually it becomes so rich, it becomes so interesting, that transformation, it's not just the little change, but that the transformation, because everyone wants that transformation. Now, what attracted me to come or to coaching is, as I said, first of all, I've been through so many changes, or whether that were natural changes, natural progressive changes, but they were changes. So I felt like I was quite good at adapting those to those changes. But not everyone. Many people, they feel that suddenly when there is a change, they feel like, oh, I don't know what to do and I don't know how to navigate. Or there are people who are so much stuck in their past stories that they find it difficult to move forward. Or sometimes when the change happens, especially in recent times, we see there is a lot of uncertainty, a lot of ambiguity, and people are so much ahead of time thinking about their future, which brings the anxiety. And so people are never necessarily in the really enjoying what's happening in this moment where the life is happening. And I realized that many times when I had this conversation with different people, whether it's my friends or colleagues, that usually people are either, as I said, either they are stuck in the past or they are anxious about the future, considering either of because of their career or their relationships, wealth, income. So these are really the topics that used to come up. And I realized at the bottom of that, everything comes down or boils down to the factor of fear, that they are scared of something. And I said, I felt like there has to be something, because we see so many stories. The people have overcome there, whether they are the sports people, business people, or individuals, they have come. So there must be something people are doing, some people are doing right, that they are able to, when you look at them, you feel like they are just flowing in their life, progressing. So that actually started. And right from my beginning, actually, I still remember when I was as a teenager or in my early 20s, I was really attracted to the science of meditation. So I used to really find out what is meditation, how can I do it? And so I got into that quite early in my in early 20s. Started with experiencing or experimenting with what is transcendental meditation, and that has actually also helped me in my life to really anchor me in who I am. So then I felt like, okay, if I can do that, I want to share that with others. And that's how actually I started, like practicing, talking about or really getting deeper knowledge about meditation and how mind works. Now, I also believe in, like, if something has been planned for me, like a destiny, then it has to happen. It will happen. Whatever it has to happen. And you won't believe, but in 2015, when I was actually, as I was telling you earlier, I was not aware that there is something as a curriculum, coaching curriculum exists. But I was looking at what should I learn? What is it that I can actually learn and grow? And suddenly there was one of my friend who was working with me in my company, or my colleague. I saw in her Facebook post that, hey, I'm a coach. And I was thinking, like, what is it, coach? And it, like the destiny has planned it. The next day morning, when I was going to office, I bumped into her in my train.
Oh, okay.
In the morning.
Quite a
and I said,
coincidence.
yesterday night, I saw your post that you're a coach, and I'm wondering what it is. And she said, and because she was going through her certification program, she was looking for so many, like, to cover her practice hours, etc. So she said, why not? You come and I will explain you. We can practice it together. I just jumped on that opportunity. So that's how I got introduced to the coaching curriculum, what coaching is. And then I was like, wow, this is exactly what I was looking at. So I got myself enrolled in coactive coaching and got certified as a coactive coach. So I think, again, like, all throughout my life, when I look back, it feels I always took up the things or opportunities as they came. And of course, you can plan for certain things, but you should always be open to opportunities as they as they say, like when the door opens, to walk through the door. And I think I just did that.
Okay. Yeah, that's since today's topic is overcoming mental blocks to have flow in life, so first I would like to understand from what exactly is flow in life. How do I know that my life is in flow, or how do I know my life is not in flow?
Right. Um, so if I ask you, when I say a word flow, what comes to your mind? Maybe a picture, whatever, or anything. What would it be?
Water, river.
Exactly, water, river.
Hmm.
So, and when we talk about water or river and the flow, you see the one which is moving ahead in a rhythmic fashion, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we are looking for as a flow in our life. So when we talk about flow, it is, if I have to define flow, I would say it is a state of being. So it's not what you're doing. You might be doing anything, but inside you have to feel. So that's a state of being where I'm moving forward. I feel I'm moving forward without much efforts. So it's an effortless state. And I'm consistently moving forward without much efforts with, again, a sense of inner joy. There
Yes.
is that inner joy because I feel I'm in harmony with myself. And also there is a sense of accomplishment, fulfillment. So when that happens, that state of flow is where you feel like I'm just flowing in, and there is probably also there is no sense of time. I don't even realize that so much or so long time has already passed.
Yes, even I believe in life has to be effortless, because the most important thing in life to have a life is breathing, and breathing is effortless, like it just comes on its own. So life has to be effortless and not full of efforts and all. But how to make that happen? That's that we have to decode in this podcast. So you, as we mentioned, that overcoming mental blocks to have a flow in life. So do we? What kind of mental blocks contribute to not having a flow in our life?
Right. Now, if I have to go to really describe what kind of mental blocks, then let's first understand what are the characteristics of flow,
Yeah.
right? So when somebody wants to be in a flow, that means they have to first fully engaged in what they are doing. So for me, flow or engage as an alternative word. So when I feel I'm completely fully engaged in what I'm doing without feeling that efforts, like without somebody else is pushing me, so it's not an external push, but it's more internal pull, and it's more of effortless engagement, that when I'm in complete focus, I'm concentrated. At the same time, there must be, whatever I'm doing, I feel inner joy, that I am either, and that joy can be different for different people. So that can be like, oh, I'm learning something, I'm probably accomplishing or giving something to someone, accomplishing something. So there could be different reasons, but there is that inner joy. And then when that happens, you feel like, oh wow, I'm just flowing without much effort. Now, considering that, what can be the block? Now, there could be the block, could be one is the mental block, because that is what we ourselves develop, or that could be also some of those external things which create the blocks. For example, let's say there are distractions, external distractions. So, for example, if I'm doing, which is I love doing it, but then I have a constant notification on my mobile, or I'm keeping my mobile there. Constant notification comes in, and I'm immediately, when the beep goes on, I look into the mobile. Oh, has somebody sent me a message, or has somebody commented on my post? Let's say, and if that happens, the moment that happens, first of all, you lose your concentration, you lose your focus. But also, there is a possibility that that effect of that notification is on maybe positive or negative, but is on you, that we start thinking about it, that, oh, why has someone commented, or why that message, why that email, you know. So once that happens, first of all, you lose your concentration, you lose your focus, but most importantly, it triggers our own internal mental voices. Now, if you I don't know if you have known the work of Shirzad Shamin, who's also founder of Positive Intelligence, where he has kind of developed the assessment where we all look into our own internal voices called saboteurs. Right now, each one of us has all those 9 saboteurs, uh, and those saboteurs are developed over a period of time since our childhood, because of the way we are brought up, the culture in which we are brought up, etc. So those saboteurs, those are those internal voices which start creating those mental blocks. That's one thing. There is also
What can be the example of such mental saboteurs?
Yeah. So for example, let's say I am when I started my, as an example, anyone, for example, when we start our professional journey, we have a lot of enthusiasm. I want to learn, I want to take up a lot of things, so I can take a lot of say responsibilities, account and projects and work, and I accomplish them. And so that actually creates the image that, oh, I'm actually a high achiever, which is fine. I mean, that's not at all a problem. So I'm a high achiever, I have always achieved some progress, etc. So I'm so much, because I was enjoying doing that work, I was engrossed, I did it, I achieved it. However, now after a period of time, everyone start expecting, when the next project comes in, that, oh, he would achieve the similar results. If you look at, for example, majority of also the sports people, or let's say I'm a big cricket fan, so Indian cricket team. So when we all expect them to win the World Cup, next World Cup as well. So it everyone creates that expectation. Now, when I'm working on a new project with that expectation in mind that I'm a high achiever, I cannot fail. So that thought, or the internal voice which says, Vinay, you are a high achiever, you cannot let others down, you cannot fail, that starts playing on my mind, and sometimes then it creates, so suddenly I'm not able to really focus or concentrate if I'm thinking too much about the uncertainties in that project, or I'm
But
or
isn't a appropriate amount of this fear is required to perform as well?
Yeah. So yeah. So exactly, that's a brilliant segue into that way, because what happens is that when do we experience flow? When our skill and the challenges are in alignment. So if I have a project or any task, but my skills are too high, too way good, then I don't really feel, because I might get bored. I might finish it completely immediately and I feel bored doing that task. Similarly, if the challenges are too high and if I don't feel I'm skilled enough, then I will put myself under anxiety or the pressure, because I don't know how to do it. So my skills are too low. And so when there is appropriate challenge, in the sense that I feel I can learn, and when I do it, I can grow, then there is that, as you say, appropriate level of fear. Now, I wouldn't call it as a fear in a sense of fear of achieving results. That fear is the fear of going out of my comfort zone, because I know it's a little bit above my level, but I can learn. So I'm going out of my comfort zone and I can learn, I can grow. So that is actually a motivator, intrinsic motivator. I can take up it. But when I start putting my attention on the end result and the result of or delivering that project, I am no more in my present. I'm not engaged in the task that is needed to do right now to arrive at that destination. So the moment I have my attention too much into the future in my on my results, I lose my track, I lose my flow in my present moment. Right? So what can actually, to your question, what can be the hindrance to be in the flow is not being in the present moment.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's why when we multitask a lot, like I'm doing something, like I used to multitask myself, and now I have stopped multitasking because I also feel that multitasking doesn't let us be in the moment and not be in the flow, maybe to experience that. Because even if I'm cooking, even if I'm doing any mundane task, that's also, if I do in totality, that's a meditation in itself. So what are your views on multitasking? Like, people multitask a lot. At times they are used to, at times that's the need of the hour. So does multitasking or too much of distractions like notifications, technology, and this and that, does it interfere with the flow?
Actually, recent science has proved that multitasking actually kind of it kind of distracts you from whatever you're doing right now. And it's not about, like, oh, that's just a very quick email, I can just send it and come back and start doing it again. Or, oh, there's just quick phone call, I can take it and then come back. Now, yes, it might look like it is just a couple of minutes call, I can, but when you keep the phone down and try to come back to your job, whatever you're doing, it needs another few seconds or minutes to come back to. First of all, let go of that phone call or whatever you have discussed, and then come back and focus on wherever you have left in that task. So science has proved actually that in terms of the efficiency or productivity point of view, if you have focused attention, that you can decide whether I want to give half an hour to this task or 2 hours to this task, in which I'm not going to touch my phone or any other distraction. That's up to our choice. But if you give that 100% attention for that 30 minutes on for that task, it is much more productive, much more efficient, and much more fulfilling. And that has been proved by science. So I would say, yes, if possible, do give your full attention to that task.
Yeah, and it's a meditation itself, like walking meditation, talking meditation, cooking meditation. So likewise, so when we totally in that task. However, at times we have to do a lot of mundane tasks at home, like cooking or maybe washing, cleaning, and all. How to have the flow in daily mundane tasks like these, or maybe a long commute to work or otherwise? So, how do we get to be in a flow when we have to do mundane tasks?
Right. Again, this comes up quite a few times in the conversation. Now, how do you, for example, I ask this question whenever in my coaching, is somebody tasks like, okay, mundane task. What makes it mundane, or what's it boring? And as I said earlier as well, if your skills are much higher than the task, of course, that can feel like boring. But the task is task. You have to get it done, right? Whether that is an interesting task, whether it's boring, whether it is mundane, whether it is complex. Now, these are the, let's say, adjectives that we attach to the task. And that adjectives actually kind of, let's say, makes up our mindset. Now, since we are talking about mental blocks in achieving flow, I just want to, there is this loop, which is what we call it as the behavior, the feelings, and our belief loop.
Behavior, feelings, and
And the belief
okay.
loop, right? So, for example, if and behavior is the action, right? So if I feel like, oh, I'm getting too much distracted, this is what we notice. That's the behavior, that's the action. So people, oh, I'm getting too much, I cannot concentrate, I get too much distracted. Now if you go a little bit beneath that behavior, you see what. So I ask, what's the feeling there? Can you tell me, how do you feel when you're doing that task? And they say, oh, I feel so disappointed, I'm doing this, or I feel whatever, I feel sad, I'm doing this, or I feel bored, right? So that's the feeling, and our feeling triggers the behavior. Because I'm bored in doing that task, I'm looking for the possible distraction. So suddenly when there is a notification, I look for what's interesting in that. So our feelings trigger our action, our behavior. Now, where does that feeling come? It comes from the assumptions, the values, and the beliefs that I'm holding for myself. So the moment I believe that I am able to, for example, I can do a much better. My skills, my competencies are much higher, and this task is much below my level. So I'm when I hold that belief, I start feeling that, oh, this is really boring.
Okay. But how do we like feel good about maybe a long commute to, you are from Mumbai, many people commute very long distance and feel very tired. Even I was in Mumbai for 8 years, I had to commute and it was tiring and it was very mundane for me, but I had to do it. So how to have that flow? Because there the belief there's no skill involved like in everyday tasks and all. There's not a matter of skill. So then how do is it possible to be in flow while commuting long
Yeah.
distance or other mundane things as well, like cooking, washing, cleaning?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, for that, that's why when I started my coaching or program, uh, I call it like showing up in life, which is exactly how can I be engaged in everything what I'm doing in my life. And that could be also this long journey, traveling from in Mumbai to Pune or Pune to Mumbai, or doing regular, the daily activities. So how can I still be engaged and enjoy those things in doing that thing? And to do that, the first thing, and there are those 5 pillars or 5 fundamentals in doing that. And one of the first pillar is the purpose. So the purpose is really about being intentional in whatever I'm doing, everything that I'm doing. So the moment I know what's my purpose is, so why am I traveling to Mumbai? Okay, that's one thing.
Okay.
So there could be like, oh, I have a job, and that means I am contributing some bigger purpose. It's not just about I go for doing something. Or let's not even take, let's say I'm doing dishes. Now, why am I doing dishes? Is that first of all is my value. Being cleanliness is one of my value in my life. So I like everything to be clean. So that's what I'm living my life on my values, right? If I don't clean, if I don't see those cleanliness around me, I get irritated. So the moment we are not anchored in our values, we have those low feelings of negativity or irritation, etc., or angry. So I'm actually happy that I'm clean. I can live on my life on my values. That's one thing. It could be hygiene, cleanliness is value, but also I care for my family. So when I have a clear home, everyone around in my family is happy, we enjoy together. So there is a purpose of staying together with my family, seeing them happy. So there is that purpose behind it, right? So I care for my family. So that's like another one. So having that purpose makes one way to look at the things. So how can I change my perspective? So what I was telling earlier, if my belief, if I'm holding this perspective that this is mundane, boring, below my skill task, then I feel bored. But now, if I change my perspective, I'm doing this task for because I care for my family, because I want to live on my values of cleanliness. Then, first of all, I'm changing my perspective of that task. So the label has changed from mundane to probably valued task.
Yeah.
So that helps to change the perspective.
Yeah.
Now, coming to the second point is yes, of course, now there might be like you have to travel 3 hours. So can you stay curious? The curiosity is another one which helps us to find the flow in our life. And that curiosity comes in like, oh, I know that I will be traveling 3 hours. What can I use? How can I use these 3 hours for whatever could be? So maybe it's a hobby. I like to read. So probably which other book I can read. Or if I stay in present, there are few people who tell like, oh, I stay so much in presence that I like to observe other people when I'm traveling in a say bus or in a train. So there are so many people that I can actually observe them, their mannerisms, the way they walk or etc. That I can use later on, or that enriches my knowledge. Or I really love to watch out and see the nature when I'm traveling and just notice what are the changes. Suddenly, in 1 week, I started noticing how the fall colors on the trees, and that actually gives me the intrinsic joy. So there could be different things. If you stay curious about yourself and about others, you might start finding how can I really use this time. So I don't see this as a travel. I see this as a time which is available to me, and how can I use it?
Yeah. Yeah. Very well said. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and as I was talking about that fundamental, there is this. So the purpose and the presence is these are like two important fundamentals of engaging and showing up or being in the flow. So the moment I'm present here, I can start noticing so many things. But when we are really doing those typical tasks, daily tasks, or having a long journey, if I'm thinking like, oh, I have to reach at that destination, so I'm not necessarily in the present. I'm always thinking about when I reach there, I will do this, I will talk to this person, I have to do all those things. So you are not necessarily in the present moment to notice what is going around us, and then you are not anchored in your flow.
Oh. Yeah. So does being in flow also helps an individual to find life purpose to lead a purposeful life?
Yes and no. Why? First of all, to be in the flow, of course, as you have to get. I mean, sorry, not necessarily to be in the flow. What I want to say is to find a life purpose. You have to first of all go inside yourself, right? And to find some quiet time to understand what is it that I really care for, or what is it that I want for. So it's not like a certain task that I sit 2 hours, close my eyes, and I will find something. So you might find it in that moment, you might not even find it in that moment. So if you're open, if you stay curious, if you're open to listen to your own there's murmur or a soft voice that come in when you with yourself in a quiet moment, and then you might suddenly find that sometimes, but it's not necessarily. But for that happen, you have to be really connected with yourself in a quiet moment. So yes, you can be in the flow and you will find it, or you can still be in the flow. But if you are putting a caveat saying I have to find it, then I would say you would be disappointed.
Yeah, because there's really too much stress that I must do this in this one hour.
Yeah. So as long as you're curious and open to just flow without necessarily putting a condition, then that's the way.
So, Vinay, in your practice, Can you please share with us some real life example where someone moved from a place of having mental blocks to a place of having flow in life?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And usually, as I said, I work as a executive leadership and life coach, and that's why, because I think we as a person, we want to be the same person wherever we are. Many times we have that kind of an idea, oh, I need to be a different person when I am in office, and we try to put a mask, or people try to put a mask to show that how different or how good they are or whatever, and that can actually build the stress, and they lose that anchor, or they don't find the flow in their life. So first of all, I think the important thing is to be authentic. So as much as that you know yourself, you can own yourself and be yourself everywhere you are. It's possible that you can get engaged and you find the flow. Now, I remember one of the client few years ago. Now, she was, I mean, she had a difficult time, of course. I mean, with full confidentiality, I can tell this, but she had a difficult time because she had going through her divorce. She was on a good high rank position in a multinational organization, and because of that, of course, it created a lot of stress and pressure, about, first of all, about delivering, because as I said, high achievers, they want to deliver. So suddenly she started feeling that pressure of what if I, if I don't deliver, if I lose my job, I have two kids, and how can I really find, so all that stress has taken a toll on her, that she was not able to really focus on what she was doing in any moment, whether it's at home or in office, right? So what we actually started doing is really looking at her, what are those beliefs, what are those assumptions that she is carrying with her. And with office, usually everything is so much, we are so much, logically driven people, that I want to do this things, and it will deliver the results, but suddenly certain things change, there are a little bit uncertainty, ambiguity, and then, but at the same time my heart says that no, I need to look at my family, my children, because now I'm a single mother. So my head, my heart, and then the gut, they are not necessarily aligned. So what we started working on is really first to bring her back, anchor her, get her confidence back by clarifying what is it that she wants in her life. And to clarify, so once she knows, okay, this is what I really want in my life, and then how can I start building that, the confidence in her. Now here I also work with, the chakras, the energy, chakra energies in our body. So how can we make sure that the lower chakras are made so strong that gives us the energy that flows upwards. So really working with the chakras, energies, etc., to get her, anchor her in who she is, helped her to really understand what she needs to do in that. Now, when after like 6 months, when we worked together, and she said like, oh, that really, I mean, of course, and even though she was in a completely different country, we were working on digital medium, through digital medium. She said like, oh, there was this connection, there was that you could understand my energy, the feelings and the connection, and that's also the flow. When we are connected with ourselves, I can really connect with another person and understand what she is, what kind of energy she is in, right? So after, of course, 6 months, she was able to sort out the things and really decide, okay, this is what I want. And now she is actually, I mean, she continued in her role, did not, but it was really important for her to get out of that sleeping pills, to get to go through that stress and feel the flow and the energy, the renewed energy.
Yeah. So yeah, so at times we do many things to just numb those feelings, like maybe drink, or maybe too much workaholism is also numbing
Yeah.
of self, and then so that we don't see the real thing, and because we're so scared, or maybe we are running away, or what can be many other ways as well. Vinay, you also spoke about being authentic and not wearing a mask. So, do we do that? Wearing a mask and be different in office and with other people and all, because because inside we feel that maybe people want this, and if I do behave like this, then maybe I will not be taken seriously. So maybe put a facade because to influence people, or maybe because of those belief systems that I have to be serious because we have grown up seeing very serious people in senior roles, and then we wear that mask to be someone else because it worked for them, and then we think that it will work for me as well. But you also spoke about showing up in life. So we show up in life being authentic, to be in flow, and to be in flow is to be in the moment. That's what I understood with all the different examples and things which you explained. Is that do I get this right?
True, exactly. Like for example, as you say, we had developed some of those beliefs or assumptions how it should be, and that's why we try to pretend, oh, I am like that. Now there is also the motive that by being like that, I would be able to grow. Say, let's say in office, in my role, or get a promotion, whatever, right? But when you live life of mask, it's not sustainable, because then you cannot necessarily sustain that for a long time, and living that life can be so tiring, exhausting, that after a while people really start feeling like, oh, I need to be myself, or you start getting, or you start going away from who you are, or that the distance is so much that you're completely lost, right? And in that moment, exactly, when once you know and once you understand yourself, and once you kind of taste that being in that engaged and the flow state, you don't want to go back and wear that mask again. And I've seen actually, again, there was this excellent example. The person, and this is not necessarily mask, but this person was like our colleague. He had taken so much that he had absolutely no time for, say, family or the children or something. And I still remember it was the month of November in 2022, and he came completely exhausted. He said, like, I even don't have a capacity to think what I want to talk about today. And we went through our coaching, etc. And then exactly I introduced him these saboteurs and the belief concepts. And you know, uh, he's also a music lover. So he used to play music, and said, okay, there was one of the action he came up with, like, I want to play my guitar. And the next weeks he played his guitar, and he said, no, even if whatever, that's my priority, so I'm giving my 15 minutes to play my guitar, go out and be a child. And then 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, when he came back, and he said, that was magic. Nothing new. I mean, he knew he was playing guitar earlier, but he was said, like, that was magic. So why? Because I played guitar after so many years, and I felt like I'm connecting back to my who I am. In fact, he said, oh, I went with my children the other day outside, and it was a snow time during December. So there was snow, and we played in the snow, and it felt like, wow, I'm getting back my life. So that's exactly, like, you cannot have that mask, or you cannot go too much away from who you really are.
Oh, yeah. And if we go too much away, then there will be no flow in our life.
There will be no flow. Also, I just want to for the benefit of the viewers, it's because we are so much in our life, we are so much driven by the result and the expectations, that suddenly everyone will think what is, and also this, work life balance is the term that we hear so much. And I don't like the term balance, because the moment we talk about balance, everyone expects it to be like a straight line. And I just want to make sure that people understand the flow or the balance is never going to be a straight line. So if you're expecting to be always in that flow state the same way, then you will be disappointed, because it's always going to be up and down, up and down. So you will have sometimes an excellent energy to do so many things, and after a while it might come down. So you need to be in that, sometimes just let go of, relax, and be, even that can be a, like enjoy that moment and feel the flow of just being yourself. So it will always be up and down. So as long as you learn to dance on that rhythm of your life, you will find your flow.
Yeah. So we have to get used to dancing from the rhythm of life and get and accept it and go along with it, and not actually hold back. Oh no, why I'm up now? Why I'm down? But to adjust to the ups and downs.
Absolutely, absolutely. As long as you learn from that up and down and incorporate and go with the flow. And that's why actually at the beginning, when you talked, I asked you about the flow, and you said the river or the water, like water will always find its way. The river it's not like without any interruptions or without any distractions. There, it will always find its way. Even if there is a big rock in its path, it will find its way. And that's the flow. The flow does not mean you won't have challenges. Flow does not necessarily mean you won't feel any feelings. But how do I find my way out and keep going ahead?
So, so if somebody is feeling stuck in life and can't move ahead because of this up and down in life, but can't actually adjust to this up and down and feeling stuck in life, so what would be your advice in that kind of a situation to get along into a state of flow?
Um, Find a coach. Definitely. But I mean, no, jokes apart, of course, if you are able to speak rather than struggle on your own, that's the best way. So find whoever you trust. And so that's important. But usually, from the coaching point of view, if I look at it, people get stuck because they are so much either in their past. Most of the time when they are stuck, they are in their past. So like, why is it happening, or why, etc., kind of questions. And when they are stuck, that means they are not able to flow, because they are not able to let go of certain things from their past. Right. So it's so if you are able to see what am I really struggling, what am I not able to let go of, then probably you can move on your own if you are able to take action. If not, take help of whatever it is, like whether it's a coach, whether it's someone who's a therapist or healer, etc. But get the help to get those baggage off your shoulder. Otherwise, it's going to hold you back anyway.
Yeah. Yes, letting go is very important to make space for newer things and to move ahead as well. So, and we need to know what do I need to let go to move ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And you use the perfect word, like to create that space.
Yeah.
It's really, really important, because if your jar is already completely full, and if you want to add something which is even positive, there is no space. So you have to empty that jar to fill it up with all those positivity.
And we need to be in the moment and to be in touch with self to know what exactly I need to let go. So we keep the resource, because with these problems and everything, we do have some internal resources as well. with us. So we keep the resources and we just let go what's not working out for me. Also, I have found in my personal experience, what worked for me 2 years or even 1 month back might require to be let go now because it's not serving me anymore. Like for example, like I'm a finance person, so so many investment options also made sense 10 years back, but now it doesn't make sense because maybe it doesn't give that much return, or it's become more risky and all. So like investments and all other things also, what is relevant in the past might not be relevant to me as of now. So we need to know what and when to let go and keep the
Absolutely.
resources with us.
And that again, when you said talked about your finance, I remember exactly because I have transitioned from being a finance controller into coaching,
Uh,
and and being in the finance, we always had to work with strict deadlines. The month end and year end and whatnot. So always that deadline. So and talking about those saboteurs, I had that. So that has actually developed a big saboteur, controlling saboteur, as we call it, which means if even if when I was on holiday and if I have planned my holiday, I'm going to leave my place at this 7 o'clock in the morning. We will reach 10 o'clock to say whatever Lonavala, and then from there we will take this ride and that ride. So it was always like a planned holiday. And the moment you leave, and half an hour, if you get stuck in the traffic, I used to get so much agitated and frustrated that, oh, now every plan is going for a toss. We cannot reach there at this time. We cannot do this. So the whole journey, which was actually you should be enjoying, was going into an frustrated and agitated time, right? And that's the saboteur that I have to overcome myself, to let go of that controlling mentality if I want to be in the flow. So, and then in order to be in the flow, the first thing is to accept.
yes.
So, okay, I accept. I'm stuck in the traffic. I accept. Can I do something about it? Then let's do it. If not, then what can I do now? So can I enjoy right now this place, or maybe something else, some other activity? So first thing is to accept. And then second thing would be, especially to that question, like people who are stuck in the past, how can they move? Is not to blame ourselves, like, oh, why I did not think about it earlier, or why I did not do this earlier, etc. So acceptance, self-acceptance, and then the self-compassion. Yeah, maybe okay, I might have made a mistake. I should have invested it in that last month. I did not do it. I cannot change it now. What can I do now?
So, so I'll just summarize what I have understood to be in the flow. So, to be in the flow, I have to connect to myself. I need to know what I want. And that also comes when I am in the moment and I'm not in my past or in the future. Always future is anxiety, past is again too much of stressors. So to be in the now, to be connected to self, to be aware and to accept, because many times we will not have a control over the environment and all other stresses in the environment. So to have an acceptance, awareness, and also knowing what to let go and what to keep. So these are all I am. So would you like to add anything?
Absolutely right, what you said. And in order to do that, I think whatever works for each, because each individual has their own method.
Yeah.
So it's not what works for me will work for you. So you have to find your own ways. And that's what I called as the rituals. And that's why also the spirituality comes in there. But it's not necessarily about anything like religion or anything, but it's more what are those rituals? What do I do when I get up in the morning? How do I set my intentions or affirmations, or how do I want to be throughout the day? So see for what rituals that work for you, that will help you to connect with yourself, and and then just flow with it. Be curious and flow with it.
Yeah. Yes. A very nice thing about rituals, which I have found with myself as well as with my clients, is even if the because many times people will ask, will this work or will this not? Any ritual. So even if the ritual is rubbish, it's just drinking a glass of water, but then also the emotions around it, that I am drinking that water with a lot of emotion, that this is going to do some good to me, and then having that regularity of drinking water at one particular time, that itself brings a lot of hope and a lot of change or a lot of transformation in us. So rituals do mean certain things. So I have a lot of rituals, especially before I sleep and after, as you rightly mentioned, just after we wake up, because that's the time we set us up for the day. And night. I'm a past life regression therapist, so night is like a mini death. Like it's just one day coming to a close, and then we sleep in peace. It's very important that we sleep in peace, and we sleep in peace when we close the day peacefully, and we have some ritual to close that day, and then it brings us to a space. When we do a ritual, we know, because we do a ritual with some emotion, that with some intention, that this ritual is going to do this for me. So we
Yeah,
bring that intention and emotion, and then it changes the physiology and the mental state as well.
absolutely, absolutely correct. And that's why I really tell people about two things. One is the consistency, and the other one is the patience.
Yes, yes, we have to. So maybe we overestimate. Bill Gates says we overestimate ourselves in the short run, but underestimate in the long
In
run.
the
Because
long
what
run.
we can do in 10 days, maybe no difference at all. But in 10 years' time, I can make a lot of difference. Even
Yeah,
when I see myself 10 years back and where I was, so lot of difference. But if I see like 10 days, I want to do this in 10 days, maybe
yeah.
then there's no
Yeah. And also because people many times, especially in this social media environment, it's easy for us to compare ourselves with someone else.
yeah.
But you never know, exactly like you said, somebody might be at that position after so many years.
Yes.
It's, and I read, I mean, a good kind of a metaphor for that is like you should know, if you just started reading the book and if you're on the page number 10, don't compare yourself with someone who's on the page 100,
Yeah.
right? So that's another, I would say people have to understand this.
Yes. Yes. So many thanks, Vinay, to be with us, taking time out from your busy schedule to be with us, sharing your wisdom, your knowledge with us. I hope this will benefit many people, because being in flow is extremely important in our life, to feel that peace and happiness, that juice in life.
Absolutely, Manjari, very well summed up. And thank you so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed, and yeah, wish you all the best in whatever you are doing.
Same for you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you. So was it good, Vinay?